Repairs to Valley roads and waste and drinking water systems are about to get some much needed funding. State Representative Lauren McNally's office announced today that the Ohio Public Works Commission has awarded more than $5.3 million in grant and loan funding to infrastructure projects in Mahoning County. I talked with Representative McNally earlier this afternoon. From the information that you gave us, we roughly calculated more than $3 million of that funding is in the form of grants, and it's going to be used on roadways located in Youngstown, Boardman, Poland, Austintown, Milton Township, and Craig Beach. How much is this a win for the Mahoning Valley?
You know, it's an absolute win, and kudos to our local governments, our local public works departments, because they stay on top of this money. They know when the grants are becoming available. They apply for the grants. They do the legwork. They reach out to us as the state legislators and let us know that they're putting in these applications so that we can work together on it. And, you know, they did all the work here, and I'm super happy that, you know, they're taking notice of state resources and bringing them back here.
There's also going to be a $2 million loan for improvement at the Boardman wastewater treatment plant. How much will that help residents in the area?
I mean, a wastewater treatment plant is a huge asset for a community, both from just a financial perspective, but also a infrastructure and a safety and a, you know, clean environment. And they're expensive. And they are expensive to maintain, they're expensive to upgrade, but it's something you can't live without. And so to be able to help at the state level with some of that burden, that financial burden, so that it's not completely on the backs of those who live here, is great. It's a win for everybody. It's the things we should be doing at the state.
So let's turn to the latest going on in the state legislature. This week, the House voted on overriding the governor's veto regarding property tax levy restrictions for school districts. The vote, 61-28. Can you comment on why your colleagues across the aisle feel so strongly about these restrictions?
Do you mean like the Republicans really wanted to push this one?
Right.
Yeah. You know, it seems like they're just really trying gung-ho on doing anything, just something, but they're not thinking through what that something is. And this was a case in point, and that's what the governor said when he vetoed it. He said it needed time to be vetted. It needed time to have hearings. It needed time to allow those who would be impacted to come in and talk about that. And so it should stay in the form of a bill rather than shoving it in the last hour into the budget, which is what we did with this. And so I agree with the governor on that stance. That's not good governing. Good governing is hashing things out, is talking through them, making sure there's no unintended consequences, or understanding the intended consequences and those impacts, and if we need to gap fill in situations. So you know, I think they were desperate to do anything. Unfortunately, you shouldn't rush these things, because at the end of the day, there's real impacts to real humans at the end of a piece of legislation. And we have to remember that.
Right. The legislature is now on break until September, so we don't know how the Senate will vote on this. Have you heard any rumblings from that side of the General Assembly as to how they might vote?
It's really been mixed. I've heard both that they don't have the number of votes, but then I've also heard and seen on, you know, some of them are putting out on social media that they not only have the votes to do it, but they've got the votes to override any of these tax vetoes that the governor made that the House might want to take up if we want to take up more. We didn't have on the House side, we were supposed to veto 3 items on Monday. We didn't have the votes. The Republicans didn't have the votes to take up all 3 items. So, you know, that's why we only did the 1.
So where do you think this stands now? Do lawmakers still plan, do you think, vote on the other 2, or you think this is a dead issue now?
I absolutely do not think it's a dead issue.
Okay.
I think it will continue. And really, when it comes to veto overrides, we have until the end of next year to do any of them. And I absolutely think it'll come back up.
All right. Well, a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on it for sure. Representative McNally, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.